This past week, I really think that we had a really productive week. When you look at, both line of scrimmages, offensively and defensively, I thought offense on Tuesday had a really great day running the football, protecting the quarterback, and I think that translated into the game. And so did the defensive line. I thought the defensive line did a really nice job with regards to the run game and the front seven. And I think that carried on into the game. So there's a lot of really good things that we're able to pull from the tape that we did pull from practice. But again, there's always going to be things to work on. There's always going to be things to get better at. And right now, when you look at it, there's winning one-on-ones in the pass game, both offensively and defensively, are always for the history of football always be an urgent matter.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, wherever you're listening from. It's Saturday, August 15th. My name is Russell Reese, and you are listening to the Nashville Sports Report. All right, well, we started today's show with a clip from Titans head coach Robert Saleh speaking about the last week out in San Francisco. The Titans started the week on Tuesday with a joint practice with the San Francisco 49ers. It was the first time that the Titans' new-look offense and defense could test themselves against a team that was not the Titans. Practice started off very physically. There were a number of fights that seemed to be instigated by the 49ers defense against the Titans offense. A couple of Titans offensive linemen were eventually kicked out of practice. Cam Ward even got involved in a little bit of the pushing and shoving when a hit was laid on Carnell Tate. On the other side of the ball, San Francisco's offense really did have a lot of success against the new-look Titans defense. However, this is the same defense that they have been playing against in practice for a number of years now, given that Robert Saleh was the defensive coordinator in San Francisco before coming to Tennessee. So, in a way, the San Francisco 49ers offense is more accustomed to practicing against a lot of these concepts than maybe even the Titans defense is to running them right now. So it's a bit of a mixed bag there. It's hard to say that, the defense got torn apart. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Titans defense when they go up against some teams who haven't practiced against Robert Saleh's defense every day, all day for years. Next week against the Seahawks, and then the week after against the Bears, and, of course, on into the season. Cam Ward looked pretty good on Tuesday. He was 16 of 23, according to Titans Online Jim Wyatt. It's about a 70% completion rate. He had one interception and 2 touchdown passes during red zone work. All in all, a pretty good day for the Titans offense against the San Francisco 49ers first-team defense, which is no slouch. Then on Thursday, the Titans and 49ers met for the first preseason game of the season. It was the first game under Coach Saleh, and the Titans ended up winning 19-13, although it's not really that important what the score is during the preseason because the starters only played a few series, and then the backups came in. All in all, Cam Ward did not look nearly as impressive as apparently he was on Tuesday. He was only 5 of 12 for 57 yards. The opening drive was great. He led a 95-yard touchdown drive, capping with a Tony Pollard touchdown run, a few big hits, one to Calvin Ridley and another screen pass to Gunnar Helm. But after that, Cam kind of looked out of sorts, had some mechanical issues, setting his feet improperly and missing some easy passes. Some other highlights from the game, though, include the running game looking really good. Kicker Joey Sly, who's been having some issues in practice, has apparently put those behind him. He was 4 for 4 during the game, including 3 field goals of over 50 yards. That'd be nice for the Titans if they don't have to worry about that. And Joey Sly has such a big leg that he can be a threat from way downtown. The Titans' defense did kind of get carved up by San Francisco's backup offense. A lot more than you would hope, but again, the caveat of the 49ers understand the Titans defense. Titans players are still learning to play it, and this would have been the basic no frills, vanilla version of the defense because the Titans don't want to put anything on tape for the rest of the league. All in all, it's nice to get a win. Cam's play on Thursday is a bit more concerning. However, as I said last week, I firmly believe that the action and activity in practice on Tuesday is a much more indicative look at where things stand. You've got a lot more continuity. You've got a lot more play time for Cam. You got the first game jitters out on Thursday. This was the first time he played in a quote-unquote real game since the Jaguars game when he dislocated his shoulder back in January. So while it's disappointing to maybe not see Cam playing up to what our expectations might be on Thursday, I fully believe that really Tuesday is the more instructive of the 2 days, and he had a better performance then when he was actually playing against the first string defense versus on Thursday when it was primarily backups. Here's Robert Saleh the day after the game talking about Cam and his development.
We've the good news is going back and digging in on the film, like every pass play that Dave's called yesterday, we've run in practice, and you guys have been there, and you guys have seen flashes of Cam and the entire offense operating at a very high level. And it's as simple as just time on task. He's every single one of those plays he's executed flawlessly in practice, and he's got to be able to have the confidence in not only himself but his teammates to just execute, get your feet down, play with great technique, and deliver the football just like he has. And we're gonna continue to harp on all the technique, the fundamentals. We're gonna continue to rep things at a high level, but it's just reps.
Okay, so like I said, I still believe that Tuesday's joint practice is probably more instructive than Thursday's game. You want to see better looks out of Cam during the game, but a closed practice allows the team to actually use more of their offense and defensive system. A preseason game is going to have a more simplified, stripped-down version of those systems. And going into the game, we don't know if Cam and Coach Brian Daboll had a specific set of things that they wanted to work on. Maybe it was like, hey, I really just want you to work on taking the checkdowns, or maybe it was, I want you to work on the mechanics, in which case that's a little bit of a problem. But it's hard to know what the goal of that preseason game was for the 20-something plays that Cam was in. He had a lot more plays on Tuesday in a full practice versus, just throwing 12 passes in a preseason game. So despite the doom and gloom from Titans fans right now, I'm going to reserve judgment on all of that until we know more and see more. And the next chance for us to see more will be next week when the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks come to town, first for a joint practice on Friday, and then for Sunday night matchup at Nissan Stadium. So this is going to be another good opportunity. This might tell us a lot more. Cam actually looked really good against the Seahawks defense last regular season. I think it was one of his better games, even though the Titans lost. And we will be able to see him going up against a whole different team, a different defense that hasn't practiced against his offense and doesn't know anything about what he's trying to accomplish. And on the other side of the ball, we'll see the defense going against an offense who hasn't practiced against them either. So what will I be looking for? Again, I'm going to be deferring more to what comes out on Friday out of practice. But during the game, a week from Sunday, I want to see how Cam throws. Does he look more comfortable? Can he hit some of those easy layup shots that he kind of missed last time? Are things just a little calmer? Cam kind of pushed himself. The timing was a little ahead of pace. I'd also curious to see how the offensive line holds up. They actually look pretty darn good, the starters at least, with Fernando Carmona in that right guard spot on Thursday night. And do we see that continuity? Does Carmona, the fifth-round pick, stay as the right guard starter? That would be quite the coup for the team to have found a starting right guard in the fifth round. And if so, can he continue to play at the level that he did last Thursday? So these are some of the things that I'll be hoping to hear out of practice next Friday and then looking for during the game a week from Sunday against the Seahawks. Another fun little caveat about the Seahawks visit is that they are featured on this year's Hard Knocks, the HBO show that goes behind the scenes in training camp with an NFL team, which means by transitive property, the Titans will also be featured on Hard Knocks. So it should be fun to see some of that. Maybe hear some of what the Seahawks, how they react to the Titans, their thoughts on Cam, their thoughts on any of the other players they go up against during that week. So that'll be a fun little thing. That episode will probably be at least a week after they visit, but another thing to look forward to. All right, moving on now to Nashville SC. This past week, they wrapped up Leagues Cup, which is for MLS, a midseason tournament with MLS clubs and Liga MX clubs. As you may recall, last week, Nashville SC lost 1-0 to Club Leon, which put them in a hole for the rest of Leagues Cup to get out of qualifying. This past Sunday, they beat Mexican side Atlético de San Luis 4-1. It was a pretty resounding victory. Most of the regular starters were in. Most importantly, it included the return of Christian Espinoza, the big offseason signing for Nashville SC, who had been out since the World Cup break. Espinoza announced himself with 2 goals within 11 minutes in the first half. He looked excellent. He looked like the guy we'd come to know before the World Cup break. He also got to serve as the captain for the first time in a Nashville SC shirt. It was a great return for him, encouraging, very, very encouraging to see him firing and to kind of see the Nashville SC that we'd grown accustomed to before the World Cup break. A really offensive, dynamic, attacking, pressing team that is going to put opponents on their toes. That win gave them a little bit of hope of staying in Leagues Cup. Then on Wednesday, Nashville SC hosted Monterrey at GEODIS Park as well. Ahmed Qasim started the game with a goal 21 seconds in. It was actually the fastest goal in Nashville SC history. Reed Baker-Whiting had another first-half goal called offside because the ball appeared to brush off his arm. And then Monterrey came back in the second half, as they've been doing this whole tournament, scored 2 goals to eventually win 2-1 and knock Nashville SC out of League Cup. It should be said that the team on Wednesday was heavily rotated, primarily because Nashville SC this evening takes on Inter Miami. It's a huge game, 7:30 at GEODIS Park. It is a meeting of the top 2 teams in the MLS Eastern Conference, and I think the top 2 teams in the whole league right now. Nashville is 2 points ahead of Miami. The winner of this game will be in the lead for the Supporters Shield, which is what they call the number 1 team who has the most points by the end of the season, is the Supporters Shield winner. In Europe, that would be the team that wins the league, but here in America, we then go to a playoff. The Supporters Shield is considered hardware, great thing, and right now Nashville is in the driver's seat. So if they can win tonight against Miami in what is going to be a very hot game, I think temperatures are supposed to hit about 100 degrees today in Nashville, and with heat index expected to push it up over 110, Nashville will be firmly in control of their destiny. This continues a long history of Nashville-Miami clashes. Both teams came into the league the same year, 2020. Nashville fell victim to Messi in Miami in his first tournament in 2023. He came in for Leagues Cup, and there was a famous match here, the final, that went to, I think, 10 penalty shootouts. Nashville ultimately lost to Messi. It was his first trophy with Miami. One big question about Messi right now, though, is that his father, it was announced last Saturday, I believe, that his father has passed away, and his availability for tonight's match is still up in the air. Jorge Messi was a huge figure in Lionel Messi's life and his career, and obviously losing a father that you're that close to is devastating. Again, our condolences to him and his family, but that will certainly play some role in what happens tonight. There has yet to be an announcement about Messi's availability.
I think when you play against Miami, it's always needs a big collective effort. Obviously, it's a really talented team with special players, and for us, it's always about being collectively compact. It's hard to play through, but at the same time, I think there's opportunities when we have the ball that we can be good and dangerous as well.
And then within the squad generally, do you feel the weight of this being 1 versus 2? Whoever takes it will take a firm lead on supporter shield, or at least the lead on supporter shield. Is there a vibe around the team at all with how important this game is?
I think, when we kind of come back off the League's Cup, we know that that's now concluded. We basically have a really singular focus and mission, which is to be focused on the MLS season. And the objective is crystal clear, which is to compete each and every match to finish as high as on the table as we can. And we know that the next opponent is Miami, an Eastern Conference foe, and we want to continue to remain at the top, not just through Saturday, but as long as we can.
Later in the week, Nashville SC is going to travel to New York Red Bull on Wednesday and then come home Saturday for a match against Columbus Crew at GEODIS Park. That means 3 MLS matches in 8 days, beginning with tonight's Miami matchup. It's a huge stretch for Nashville SC as they return to MLS play. And if they're able to get a result in all 3 matches, they could put themselves comfortably in the lead for the Supporters Shield and a great position down the stretch run. Be interesting to see how Nashville SC comes out of this week with those three huge matchups. Something to look forward to. Moving now to the Nashville Sounds, who are currently 64-53. They are a few games back of the current division leader. Right now, they're in Indianapolis for a 6-game series, currently tied 2-2 after a 9-1 win over Indy last night. They've got 2 games left in Indy, one today and one tomorrow, before they head to Norfolk for a 6-game series, which starts on Tuesday. Norfolk is one of the weaker teams currently in the league, and it would be a strong chance for Nashville to make up some ground on St. Paul and Memphis, a couple of the teams that they've been chasing for the division lead. Other notes in sports around Nashville this weekend. Nashville Stampede, which is the professional bull riding team that represents Nashville, has an event this weekend at Bridgestone Arena. It started yesterday, goes today and tomorrow. And if you want to go check out some professional bull riding and support the home team, this is the annual event to do so. So if you're curious about bull riding, get on down to Bridgestone Arena and support Nashville SC. Also, Vanderbilt Dore Jam is coming up next Sunday, August 23rd. As I've mentioned a number of times on this show, that is Vanderbilt's way of kicking off the new athletic year. That'll be 2 to 4 p.m. at Memorial Gym, with Vanderbilt women's volleyball to follow right after Dore Jam at 4 p.m. So come down to Dore Jam next Sunday, August 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. Stay for the volleyball. All right, my guest this week is Lisa Carter. Lisa is a longtime Nashvilleian, a successful real estate investor, and a commercial real estate agent. I asked Lisa to come on to the show this week to help me break down what the process might look like for Music City Baseball as they began to research and discover opportunities to build a stadium around town. How did they go about acquiring land? What would have to happen once they found the site? And ultimately, where it should go. I thought it was a really interesting conversation with Lisa about the stadium location, but I also enjoyed hearing about her own sporting exploits and adventures throughout the years. I hope you will enjoy my conversation with Lisa Carter. All right, Lisa, well, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Russell. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thanks, me too. Lisa and I know each other outside of my sports podcast world through some real estate stuff. Lisa's always kind and generous, my wife, with her time. And I appreciate you continuing that habit by going to talk sports and, of course, a little bit sort of real estate-y stuff. But I want to dive right in with some of the questions that I like to ask everyone, starting with, what is your favorite sport to play?
So my favorite sport is tennis. Played tennis in college. Started playing tennis around 15, which is late. I wish I had been in a position to have started earlier, because I would have done everything I could to play professional tennis. I loved it. I would play hours I would get to the court at 7 a.m. and I didn't leave until 7 p.m. because I loved it that much. If I didn't have anybody to play with, I'd hit it off the wall. So tennis is definitely my favorite sport. Also played basketball in high school, so I understand basketball very, very well. Enjoy that. Anything anything with a ball rustle, I really enjoy. Played golf yesterday. I can't play tennis anymore, but I play golf. I try to play a couple of times a week if at all possible. And yeah, so yeah, tennis is my favorite, followed closely by football and golf.
Where do you like to play golf? You got any preferred?
So yesterday I played at Legends. Shout out. That's where I typically play. I'm at a point in life where, if I have to go to a public course and wait and have a 6-hour round, it's not as much fun to me. But, and I spent a lot of time in Florida, and those courses really focused on the pace of play. People, especially ladies, they think, "Oh, I can't go out and play golf because I'm not any good." Most of the guys out there are horrible. They're hackers, right?
Mhm.
They're kicking the ball. I mean, they're topping the ball. They're hackers. So, ladies, get out and play. The only thing that we really care about is the pace of play.
Mm.
Just make sure that you're keeping up with the group in front of you and keep it moving. But yeah, so for that reason, I tend to play more private courses than public. But I love Ted Rhodes. I love Hermitage. There's some really, really nice Montgomery Bell. There's some really nice public courses in the Middle Tennessee area. We're very, very fortunate.
Yeah. As one of those hackers, let me just apologize to you. That you're describing me.
No, it's okay. But I love to see guys playing from the tips who drive the ball 90 yards and then think, it's like, dude, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
My wife is a much better golfer than I am, and you should get her out sometime. But real quick story: my
Absolutely.
mother-in-law once got us like a joint lesson with a pro at McCabe, and we went
Yeah.
out there, and so he's got us on the driving range, and he does a little something with me, and then he goes over to my wife, and she's just got a beautiful natural swing. She's a fantastic athlete. And about
Yeah.
15 minutes into this hour-long lesson, the guy turns to me and goes, "Look, just keep doing what you're doing, but I'm going to work with her." Totally get it, man. It's totally cool. Go for it. But yeah, that's about the
Yeah.
pace of our golf. She's awesome at it. I always say if I get one good drive, one good chip, and one good putt, like that's me for the day, and
There
that's
you
about my
go.
speed. But
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
yeah, did you hear about they got that new indoor golf
The
thing?
18 hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. That's interesting. It just feels claustrophobic for me, but
Mm. Yeah, I'll be curious to check it out, but if it's priced like Top Golf is, I'll probably only check it out once.
yeah. Yeah.
All right,
It's
so
more about the drinks.
yeah, coming off of that, what is your favorite sport to watch?
Probably, well, I'm gonna probably I'm gonna go with tennis. There's nothing like the majors of Wimbledon, Australian Opens. There's nothing quite like that.
Mm,
The Super Bowl is good, but it's more of a corporate event now. But it can be some quality football, but I'm gonna go with the tennis major as my favorite to watch.
nice. Do you have a particular player that your favorite, or just sort of general?
Ah, oh, let's see. Love Carlo Alcaraz, the way he plays. My favorite all-time tennis player, probably John McEnroe,
Mm,
because I was a left-handed tennis player, and coming up, there were no women left-handed players, but I love the fire of John McEnroe. I loved his energy around the game. You know, Serena, the GOAT,
yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. And Coco Golf, I think now that she has really worked on her serve the past couple of years, and she's gotten a lot of criticism for it, but people forget Tiger Woods changed his swing,
Hmm.
after he won 4 majors. So, Coco and her serve, now at the 120, 121, it's going to be something to deal with. I just hope she will serve and volley a little bit more. But yeah, probably. So long answer.
Love it.
Sorry.
No. I'm here to
But
talk to you about this stuff. I
yeah.
love that.
So yeah, those are my tops.
Right on. I want to go on a little Trina because recently they have featured her in a GLP-1 ad.
Yes. Yeah.
and it's kind of
Yes.
like you've got the greatest female athlete of all time telling me I need to lose weight. It's like just if Serena needs it, there's no hope for me. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Well, if you remember her coach in her last couple of years after she had the baby, she came back. The coach was like, "You're too heavy. You can't move." And for us women, middle-aged women, it's hard for us to drop. But when your husband actually owns the company, it kind of makes you being a spokesperson.
that part I did not realize. That okay makes a lot more sense than
Yeah.
okay. Understood.
Yeah.
All right. So, what would you say is your earliest sports memory?
My earliest sports memory was, oh gosh, it was eighth grade, Russ. It was basketball tournament, and we had struggled all season, but we knew we were pretty good, and we were playing the best team in our conference. And it had gotten down to like the last, 45 seconds or so. I'm a point guard. My job is to make sure everybody's in their I'm the quarterback of the basketball on the basketball court. My job is to make sure everybody's in their right position. And I remember coach called a timeout. We went in the huddle. He drew up the play. Crowd is going wild because it's, basically a tie game. We break the huddle. We come out. The inbounder gets me the ball, and I am watching the clock. I'm like, okay. All right. Oh boy, I don't want to mess this up. And then I see my center get open, and I just lob the best pass of my entire career. I lob it to her. She scores. It was that's probably my favorite. Yeah, it has to be.
That's an awesome.
It wasn't me hitting the score, but getting, having my head up, executing that pass and that pressure. So yeah,
Lisa,
it.
I think that speaks a lot to the person I know you to be, sort of the leadership, the facilitating, driving other people to success. I think that's a beautiful memory, and I appreciate you sharing it with me.
Oh, thank you. I hadn't thought of that in years. Oh my gosh.
Nice. What school, what team was that?
That was Halls Junior High. Yeah, Halls.
Do you remember the name of your center? Sorry to put you on the spot like this.
I don't know her. I don't remember her last name. I think she's married now, but her name was Camille. Yeah.
Right on. Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's probably one of the best early sports memories that I've heard so far on the show. So thank you for that. All right. So how did you end up in Nashville?
So the first 16 years of my life, my mom had me very young, and for her to be able to support me, she knew she had to go to college. So she moved to Nashville to attend Tennessee State University. She had a good support system. I stayed with my grandparents in Halls. And then I guess I was a junior in high school. I moved to Nashville to live with my mom full time. So that's how I got here, and went to Franklin High School, home of the Rebels, when I was there. So yeah, played basketball at Franklin. I was playing tennis. I was not on the tennis team at the time, but fortunately at that point, I was able to get some private coaching. And like I said, I played tennis every day, all day during the summer, and walked on the tennis team at Lipscomb and played college tennis. So
that's really cool, man. I was a decent-ish lacrosse player in high school, and I got a couple of offers for Division III, like really low level ball, that is. And I remember just thinking, like, wow, this is Division III, and the amount of time that they ask of athletes in college was kind of insane to me. and I didn't end up doing it, but I am impressed by anyone that played collegiately. Like the dedication, the commitment is really, really astounding. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so you've been in Nashville a while. You've seen the city grow and become sort of a more and more of a sports city, I should say. What would you
Yeah.
say is your favorite Nashville sports team, if you had to pick?
I'm going to say the Titans just because they are the impetus, right? I remember, I have seen Nashville go through so many changes. When I was a senior in high school, Russ, we would go four-wheeling out where Cool Springs Mall is, right? Some of my friends' family owned some land around there. So we would go out there, build a big bonfire and go four-wheeling. And now, when the Titans came to town, it's just like Nashville, it just exploded. I know there was a lot of controversy around them in the beginning, building the stadium and what it would mean to traffic, et cetera. But the Titans really ushered us into the growth that we have seen. And I don't think we can deny that as a real estate community and as a sports community. I think the Nashville Sports Council would probably echo that sentiment, but the Titans really ushered us into where we are today, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, depending on your perspective. But being able to go downtown when the NFL draft came to town, what a phenomenal experience that was. As a native Nashvilleian, right? I had a ball. And people were so glad to be here. And I think Nashville has some unique qualities that I hope we will never lose. But I also hope we will do some things that will help usher in continued growth as we expand our sports footprint.
Yeah, I totally agree what you're saying about the Titans. It feels like it was really the pivotal sort of before and after the Nashville BT,
Yeah.
before Titans.
Yep.
And after
Absolutely.
Titans. And yeah. So what do you think of the new uniforms, the redesign, new logo and everything? You like it or?
Yeah.
Wait. All right. Jury's still out. Wait and see.
It's not the uniform. It's not the uniform. It's not the logo. It's the product. We want to know our players and love our players. And I think we're different from other markets in that sense that we want these guys to be a part of the community. We want to high five them in the grocery store and, so I think, every organization does a refresh at some point. I understand the timing of it as a business owner, but I think it's more the product than an attitude that we need to see.
Fair. So, given that, what do you think about sort of the Cam Ward, Robert Saleh era kicking off now?
I'm excited. I was a little, but I think he brings. I don't want to say we need an old school mentality, but I think what the Titans have lacked in the past few years is a nasty defense and a brutal offensive line. Based on what I'm hearing, we're starting to see some of that on the offensive line. We're starting to see some guys really show up and have an attitude. And that's what we need. I remember the Benji Olsons and the Zach Pillars, and I remember, Hops, right? I remember those guys. And if you touched McNair, you would hope to be able to walk off the field because you were punished for it. And I think we need to get back to that. And I think that's what, once we see, I think people want to see a team that's united, a team that's fighting together, and a team that's going to, stand up and support each other. And I think that's what Saleh is trying to build. And I think Jeff and Latham and Cam, I love the fact last year that Cam said after our first win, it's like, who cares? We got to do it. We got to get better. We made a lot of mistakes in this game. That's what you want from your leader. So yeah, I'm excited. I look forward to seeing what we do tonight.
Yeah, me too. I couldn't agree more with everything you just said too. I feel like last season, I think it was the first Texans game, and Aziz Al-Shire, the former Titans linebacker, laid that
Yeah.
late hit on Cam, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And everybody just walked off the field.
No
It was like,
enforcement. Yeah.
what are we doing here, guys? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that again.
And that's what I love about the Predators. The Predators, they were not, the best team in the NHL last year by some,
Mhm.
but those guys would hit you. They would hit you. They didn't play around. So I'm hoping to see more of that from the Titans this year.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. And I want it to be sort of like what the Preds were maybe last year, where like, all right, well, we beat them, but gosh, they really like we feel it.
Yeah, we paid for it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
We won the game, but I'm not sure we won the battle.
Mhm. That's such a great way to put it.
The physicality you have to, from it, like I said, from an offensive line and a defensive perspective, we have to insert our will. And I think if we do that, it's going to give Cam swagger. It's going to give the offense some swagger. So it'll be interesting to see. I know I heard yesterday that there were like 6 fights in the joint practice with San Francisco.
Yeah.
So what were those fights, right? And I heard that somebody had touched Cam and it didn't go over very well. So we'll see. That's what I hope. That's what I hope to see.
Yeah.
We'll know pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Well, you touched on some great Nashville.
I'm sorry, Ross. I'm just
nothing to apologize.
I'm just going off on tangents.
This is what I want. I want to talk Nashville sports. It's a podcast for talking about Nashville sports. You're doing exactly what I hoped you would, which is talking about Nashville sports. So this is great. But you mentioned, the draft and some great names of Titans linebackers or linemen of the past. And it leads me kind of into my next question, which is, what is your favorite Nashville sports memory or moment?
Wow. I feel like this has been beaten like a drum, but I was in the stadium for the Music City Miracle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing, never felt anything like that. I'm hugging people I'd never seen before and will never see again, right? I've never seen them again. That was probably my best and favorite Nashville sports memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also got to be in the arena when Pekka played his last game, and that was kind of special.
That is.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Really cool.
So, yeah.
Nice. I actually just bought tickets this week for the final Nissan Stadium home game. It'll be the first Titans game I've gone to in years, but it's like going to be the last one ever there. So I thought,
yeah,
need to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm pretty excited. It'll be January 3rd. It'll be cold, but seems like I love Titans. I love Nashville history. Just a culmination of all those things. I got to be in the building for that one. And I think as we get closer, I think more and more people are going to start to realize the significance of that, and the ticket prices are going to go up a lot. So I was like, I'm just going to do this before games are played, before anyone's really thinking about it too much.
Yep. Good job.
Excited for that
Good job.
sure. All right. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of Nashville sports? And now this is specific to you. It's not who you think everyone would agree, but for you, who are your Nashville sports Mount Rushmore?
Gosh, this is going to sound crazy. I'm going to say the AD for Vanderbilt, Candace.
Yeah.
I think what she has done at Vanderbilt, the leadership she's shown in some very difficult spots, being in the SEC, being an African American, being a woman, bringing that football program, hiring the coach, bringing that football program where it is, where, your quarterback is now mentioned as a Heisman candidate last year with Pavia. I just think, I think she's done an incredible job with with that program. So I'm going to start with Candace. If I have one other, I'm going to say Del Greco, the former Titans kicker, just because there's so many games on his foot that he had to step out on the field and take care of.
Mm.
Can't mention it without Eddie George and Steve McNair, Chris Johnson, who's now Derrick Henry. I think has been underappreciated or was underappreciated. He deserved a ring here. Unfortunately, we weren't able to deliver because of some administrative decisions, in my opinion. But yeah, those are my top five.
Those
probably.
are great answers, all of them. And I had Ricky Thrash on recently. He's an associate AD at Vanderbilt, and he also mentioned Candace Lee as somebody that's sort of like, well, that's your boss too. But no, I mean, what she's done there, I mean, anyone who's been in Nashville and followed sports in Nashville for even like 10 years, I asked him, I was like, do the students there, do they understand what it used to be? Because it's like a golden era at Vanderbilt right now. I don't know that, the last time they were rolling like this was in the 1910s when, Sewanee was the other powerhouse football team. It's
and they
really,
wore the leather helmets.
Yeah. I mean, and he's like, I don't know if they really, I'm not sure if they fully appreciate it, but they're all in, they're loving it. And I think what she's done is incredible.
It is. Basketball, football. I think Coach Corbin's going to have the baseball team back at the top very, very soon. But, in navigating that whole NIL era now throws a totally different wrench into the sports programs, and just having the smarts and the capacity to navigate that and help your program navigate that from the AD, being the voice in the community. She's also supported women's professional sports here. So I think Candace is at the top of my Mount Rushmore of Nashville sports.
Makes total sense. And I would add too, the handicap of being the only private university in the SEC.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Crazy. So great answer. I'm very bullish on the women's basketball team too. I think it's the best ticket in town. I say this every time I bring them up, but you can go see a top 5 ranked nationally team, and you can get in the door for some games for $1, which is insane. Michaela Blake's is amazing. Aubrey Galvin, she was a freshman last year. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be even better this year. And apparently the women's soccer team is right up there as well. So
the
very
tennis team
times.
does very well. Their golf team is exciting. So they're doing a great job on West End.
It's awesome. Great answers. All right, so this is a little bit more, this is a hot take-ish one. Do you have any Nashville sports conspiracy theories or hot takes that you want to share?
Conspiracy theories. That we're getting a Major League Baseball team next year. They're going to have a stadium that's secretly underway, under construction right now on Tennessee State's campus.
Oh.
I mean, that's the conspiracy theory, right? I do think Nashville will get a Major League Baseball team just because it's, the city. I think we have some infrastructure challenges that we're going to have to address before that actually happens. But I think that's my conspiracy theory.
That's a great theory. And actually, I had Nancy Schultz from Music City Baseball on the show actually on July 4th. And she is one of the people, she's on the board there trying to bring the team to town, the Nashville Stars. And she said pretty much confidently that she thinks the team will be announced by 2029 when Commissioner Manfred has to retire. So she thinks he wants it locked up by then. So I'm with you. I think it's
expansion, or are we going to get an existing brand?
I think it's going to be an expansion. At least that's how it sounds.
Okay.
And I want to ask you more in your capacity as a commercial real estate agent and very knowledgeable real estate person about some of the things you just touched on, like infrastructure and like where we might put a baseball team in just a moment. But first, I want to get through my last Nashville question. which is the only non-sports related one, and that is, what is your favorite restaurant in town?
Oh, Ross. Right now, my favorite restaurant is in Nuco. It's Noku. It's in East Nashville. I think I've had everything on the menu at least once, and it never disappoints. It's an American Asian fusion, and it's phenomenal. It's hard to get a reservation, but it is absolutely delicious.
All right.
But I'm a foodie, so
Even
I
better.
can't cook like your wife, but
Not many
but I
people
like a
can.
good restaurant. I like a good restaurant experience. So that's my favorite right now.
That's awesome. Actually, Nancy Schultz, who I just mentioned, she said the same thing. So there you go. Well, okay. So that brings me into,
What's your favorite restaurant right now?
oh man, well, I would have said Pelican and Pig, but they closed in the
Yes.
spring. And we actually
Yeah.
had gone
Yeah.
a week before they announced they were closing. We didn't know, but I loved that place. It was so
The
good.
best smoked pork chops
Oh,
and the corn, the
yeah, the
corn ribs.
corn ribs. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That place was awesome.
okay. It
Um,
was.
you know, I'm a sucker for some of the old Nashville stuff. I really love
Yeah.
Anatolia, Sonobana right there, like sort of the old Lion's Head places. Yeah, gosh, I haven't really gotten out a lot lately. You know, we have a youngster. We recently went to the new Chinatown in Antioch, and I didn't eat
Oh,
anything there yet, but gosh, I saw some dishes that just looked like
yeah.
really, really good. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that Nashville has always still missed is like really real authentic Chinese, like the kind of stuff
Hmm.
you can get in Atlanta at like
Yeah.
Masterpiece or North China Eatery. And hopefully some of that is out there at the new Chinatown area in Antioch. But
Mm,
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what I would say because Pelican and Pig went away. But
yeah.
and when I was a kid, I would have said Kobe Steakhouse. That was like my
Ah,
go-to.
yeah.
It's your birthday. We're going
Every
to Kobe.
birthday. Every birthday, Russell.
Absolutely. We need high end hibachi to come back too. That's another thing. I want to watch a guy catch a shrimp tail in his hat. You know, I want to see him spin the egg, make the little
Yep.
volcano with onions. I want the whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So pivoting now into, you are, as I've mentioned, a real estate professional. You're a commercial real estate agent. You've built businesses in the real estate world, and you were nice enough to come on. I kind of dragged you on, but I said, let's talk about the fact that there will probably be a baseball stadium. And they, on their website, on the Nashville Stars website, have said that they would really like to have not just a stadium, but a whole sort of complex, similar to what's down
Hmm.
there in Atlanta with the Battery, I think they call it.
Hmm.
And, looking at it, it seems like about 40 to 100 acres, depending on how large they go with it. But just as someone who's involved in commercial real estate, especially, what kind of considerations do people need to give to looking for sites? And you mentioned some of the infrastructure. Like, how does your mind approach a problem like that? That I think a lot of people probably wouldn't understand or know how to start thinking.
Yeah, that's I a, a complex that size. The price of the challenge that the baseball brain trust will face is the cost of acquisition, the land itself. I know they wish they had purchased the land 3 years ago or 4 years ago, but here we are, right? That's the tough piece is the price per square foot of raw land, developable land. The second challenge is it buildable? Nashville has a lot of rock. And when you talk about a stadium of that size, the weight of the building, the parking lots, I'm sure they're going to want mixed use where there's, some affordable housing, some high-end housing, some hotels. So the the cost of blasting rock and making that something that's usable is also something that's really probably weighing on their minds and I don't represent them. I'm
Mm.
just hypothetically speaking. Yeah, that's something that they're probably really, really thinking about and challenged by. And then they, my sense is they would want it somewhere on the riverfront, somewhere East Bank, somewhere along the river. And that real estate, going back to my number one, that real estate now is extremely expensive. So, for example, it was just announced last week, Cool Cool Springs, the owner of Cool Springs Mall, just sold their parking lot, one of their parking lots, for $11 million so that they could build mixed use apartments, retail on the first floor. They've already gotten the tenant for like 7,500 square feet of retail space on that first floor, and they haven't even broken ground yet. The deal has just been inked. So when you think of that 5 acres or so being 11 million, and you're looking at 100 acres, it's a really expensive price tag just for the facilities, and they haven't even gotten the team here, right? So, but Nashville has the capacity; they can absolutely get it done. It's just looking at finding a site. Does it have good road access, good highway access? Is it going to, if it doesn't have interstate egress and ingress, can it easily be added? And will TDOT cooperate in order to get those exits in place? So my guess is it's probably going to have to move out of downtown, bringing more people into another area of town, which would be fun. And the challenge with that is Nashville does not have public transportation. So those are 3 big hurdles that the new Major League Baseball brain trust will have to solve for as they bring a team here.
Yeah. And that's a lot to take in too. So I think you're right. Like, ideally be down on the river somewhere. I think Nancy said to me that they tried to get the industrial site over there in East Nashville, and
Yeah.
I think they weren't able to secure it. Given that sort of these requirements that you've laid out, are there any places that spring to mind to you as feasible? Like, for example, would some of the land out by Opry Mills, kind of on that part of the river? I mean, I know it's flood prone, so maybe that's an issue.
Right.
But
that's an issue.
Would
Yeah.
that be sort of something, or what would you think?
Yeah. I would probably have them take a look at, TSU does have quite a bit of land available along the Cumberland, close to Ted Roads. They probably would love to do something in North Nashville, bring more from a city perspective, bring some revitalization, bring some new dollars into that area. And the historical piece, around the Ted Rose Golf Course and North Nashville and the Jefferson Street corridor, you could easily get people from downtown out that way. So I'd also recommend, Whites Creek is a beautiful, beautiful area. They could kind of spread out, create a city within a city if they wanted to. So those are probably the top 2. I know there's some stuff already, major development going on at Rivergate. A New York developer is revitalizing that area. So I think they have some choices. And I know that they probably want to be closer to downtown than the Whites Creek area that I mentioned, but I think they have some choices.
How does acquisition of land that size work? Like, I'm thinking of, the famous story of Walt Disney, like, surreptitiously buying up all of Orlando before anyone knew so he could keep the price down. I figure you're an organization.
They're doing it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it may already be happening right now where.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's how the East Bank project happened, right? An investor started buying parcels back in the late 90s. That's also how the Gulch happened. Investors started buying that land dirt cheap way, 10, 20 years ago with the vision of this is going to be worth something at some point.
So if Nashville Stars, for example, tried to go to Whites Creek area, which would work great for me living in Inglewood, let's go. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I'm no expert on this. Maybe there's tracts of land where they could just get everything they need, but it may also be the kind of thing where you need to buy up hundreds of different people's interests. And
Yep.
do they do that through intermediaries to kind of keep it on the low, or?
They do. There's a commercial broker now calling that knows every landholder in the Whites Creek area who's making those calls and talking to them about, what number works for them. And a lot of these transactions, you're exactly right. They will never disclose that we're doing an assemblage for a Major League Baseball stadium. But what they will do is go in and, just say, I can't share, who the end buyer is, but I'm representing them and here's what we'd like to offer you. And that takes a lot of patience. Like I said, it's years of process. Some of these conversations, they take years to happen to get assemblages of that size.
Man, amazing stuff. And I wonder, just as me, some guy, is there a way to look and see, lots of stuff is getting bought up in this area, a lot of commercial real estate getting snapped up in there, or, is there a way to kind of get your finger on that
It's
pulse?
public record.
Yeah.
It's public record. Yeah.
It's not like a commercial real estate Zillow though, or anything, right?
Yeah, correct.
Oh.
Yeah. It's harder to find on the commercial side, but when you're looking at the Whites Creek area, they're buying farmland. It's not zoned commercial today. So they're buying farmland or residential land, a house with 5 acres or 10 acres, because their acquisition cost as the resident on 5 acres is totally different than it would be if it was zoned R20, right? I can build, or R15, I can build all these units on it. So they're quietly going about. Hey, El, they're quietly going around getting those assemblages together.
Cool.
Is my guess.
Yeah. So it may be happening somewhere now, and we wouldn't know. We couldn't really.
You don't know yet. Yeah. Yep.
Well, it's really interesting stuff. Is there any other considerations that would come into place when this happens, especially something like this? Nancy told me that they are working with the architectural firm that designed the Sydney Opera House, which I thought was really awesome and audacious and cool. But would there then be kind of considerations like with the architect go, oh, we're going to want certain things, or is it more of a get the land, then design the thing? Or how does design influence where they might go and what they might do?
I think they're probably getting some renderings, but it typically they want to have the land so that they understand elevation and the scope and what the infrastructure costs are going to be. And then the architect and the civil engineer is the most critical piece. So when they put an LOI for a tract of land, they're going to have a civil engineer come in during that due diligence period and say, yes, this soil will support, a 2-ton building, and we can have underground parking. We can blast the rock. We can get the utilities underground. We can have road frontage for retail. The cost of getting interstate access to the site. So the civil engineer, it's a team that they're working with during that due diligence. I mean, once they have probably 2 or 3 parcels under LOI, the architect can come along and say, based on what the engineer has shared with them, here's the elevation, here's the pitches, here's some possible renderings for each site. That's my guess. And that's probably the process that they're kind of going through right now.
So the civil engineer is really kind of
that's the critical piece. Yeah.
And that'll be everything from roads to sewage to.
Yep. Water lines, electricity, roads, manholes. Yeah. All of that.
Man, it's really interesting. It's kind of amazing, this era of Nashville that we're in right now, thinking about sort of the potential for this ballpark. I think about the East Bank and like when it's taken in its totality, we're really just redesigning a whole downtown. And I don't know
Yeah.
that there's ever been.
It's going to be brand new.
Is there ever been anything like that before, at least in America?
Yeah.
Can you think of a whole downtown?
That's a great question. To the size and scale of Nashville, I don't think so. I really don't think so. And as we talk about the stadium, even after they go through all of that due diligence and engineering, they still got to get the Metro Council to approve the rezoning that will most certainly be required for something of this size. Then the community has to come out and say yes or no.
Mm.
And then, so yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. But yes, I don't know of any city that's gone through what we're seeing in our downtown area. I mean, you've got the East Bank, you have the new TPAC building. There are 3 hotels already approved and about to break ground in the next 6 months down in that area. You have the Oracle campus. We're going to see more development in Midtown. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how Nashville evolves.
That is really interesting. Are there any other large projects sort of in the pipeline that aren't getting maybe talked about that are interesting to you?
We talk about the development that's happening in Nashville, the downtown corridor, but there's also, Justin Timberlake is doing a golf course in Whites Creek. We're also seeing major development south of Nashville in the Franklin Goose Creek area. So Nashville is growing, and it's affecting the surrounding counties as well. So it's like a bomb goes off and then it just kind of permeates through to the next 3 or 4 counties that touch us. So it's going to be fun.
Something along those lines that I've always found curious. It seems like it pushes every direction but out towards Ashland City. Is there a reason that Ashland City Highway and sort of that section of North Nashville isn't having the same development?
Yeah, that's a really good question. What happened when the reason Ashland City is kind of cut off is because they don't have city water, city sewer. The city was expanding its sewer umbrella. Nashville now we have sewer lines out to Nolensville, but we don't have sewer lines out to Ashland City, right? And that's because the cost, that is it's really just all rock in that direction. Mm. And the city determined the expense of getting those lines out there just didn't warrant it. So that's why the growth in that area is a little bit slower. But it's so beautiful, Russ. It's such a picturesque area. I think you're going to see more in the next few years, but that's my understanding. That's the reason why.
Cool.
Infrastructure.
I've always wondered about that and thought, oh, maybe it's the landfill, maybe it's the prisons out there. I don't know, but that makes a lot more sense than my random conjecture. Well, Lisa, this has been really interesting, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Any final thoughts? Anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't think to?
As I work with new investors and seasoned investors, the best time to buy real estate is now. When you look at the developers in these pockets, they've owned this land for a number of years, so we're not making any more dirt. So if I can help anyone in their commercial real estate investing pursuit, my name is Lisa Carter. My email address is lisa.carter@svn.com, and I'll be happy to help.
I will put your contact info in the description for this episode, so anyone wants to, they can reach out. I highly encourage you to if you're thinking about it. Lisa is, as we say, good people. Thanks again, Lisa. I really appreciate you taking the time, and so glad to have you come on and talk.
Thanks, Russ. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conversation. Best wishes.
Thanks. All right. Well, I want to thank my guest, Lisa Carter. It was a lot of fun speaking to her this week. Thanks to you for tuning in, as always. If you'd like to reach out to us, we're available on Twitter and Blue Sky at NSH Sports Report. We also are available for communication in a link below. We've also added Lisa's contact info down there. Feel free to reach out with her. I really recommend it. She's a wonderful person, great to work with. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.